Hey guys, Jeremy here at mywaymfg. This is Monday afternoon. Decided to come out here in the garage and work for a little while, see if I could button up a few loose ends before starting on the gas tank and the electrical. Show you what I've been up to. Hey guys, I've been out here this morning making up a bracket for my shift tower. Got a piece of angle iron welded over there. I'm gonna finish welding that, get it all ground down so it looks decent. This is another piece off the shop vac that'll go on top of the tower and get that secure. And then I just came down to, well, let me show you. I made a bracket there to come down to my top transmission bolt. This rod had some bends in it. I didn't have any more good straight stuff, but this is corn crib work, right? I got that bracket on there for the hold up the top of the shift tower. That's another like wheel perch off that floor jack. A piece of angle iron bolted through the bedside. Goes down to that top transmission bolt. I've replaced that all thread rod with just round rod. I just duplicated the bends I had in the all thread, and that turned out nice. I've got the bearing pillow block bolted to the front here, and I got the belts on. Also, the motor is bolted in now, and I finished welding that clutch arm extension that you guys seen me weld up in the last video. Underneath here, I went down through the angle in the wood for the motor mounts, and I put great big fender washers and then lock washers on all four of those. That looks pretty good. I really think everything back here is kind of done. We can start on the gas tank and wiring now. I think the only thing left to do is fill the transmission with oil. And before I put the box side back on, the points are right here. I'd like to take that off and clean the points up a little bit. Buy 2 new spark plugs for this and change oil in the motor. The drain plug for the oil is right here, and it's right over the opening in between the angle iron. So that's gonna work good to drain the oil. And then the transmission fill plug's right here in the open. So pretty well buttoned up back here. Took that old Nibco apart. There it is, what's left of it in the scrap pile. And I got the gas tank out from under it. I think that should work real well for our gas tank on this. I'm gonna hang it up underneath. These 2 flanges here, they don't come off. I guess they're spot welded on there. I haven't cleaned it up to see the spot welds, but I don't see any screws or anything. Anyway, that base to that Nibco was riveted on through these holes. I had to grind the rivets off, and it left me with these 2 flanges. They're bent like at a 45. I'm wondering if I can just take some Seaman pliers and bend these down flat. I was going to hang this up underneath here somewhere. I might be able to just kind of screw this right into the underneath of this floor. And then after I do that and kind of get it where I want it, take some plumber strap and run some cork tape along there and back the whole thing up with plumber strap so it'd be screwed and strapped. I think that would work good. And then I just got to figure out a way to extend the filler neck out to where I can get gas in it easily. This should already have a dip tube going clear to the bottom of the tank, so I should be able to hook my gas line right back into there, which is right here. I think that'll go pretty fast. And then the wiring for the coil and the solenoid, the coil wiring's right up there and the solenoid wiring's right here. So I want to get this all wired up. Then after I do that, I think I'm ready to put the box side back on. So anyway, guys, that's where I'm at with it today. I think that gas tank's going to work well. I suppose next time out in the garage, I'll probably start trying to hang that and mock up a filler neck for it, you know. When I put the tailpipes on Eliza, I bought a 2-inch exhaust kit. Had a bunch of different fittings. I've got some pieces of that left over. Here's a 45 that came in that kit. This happens to be the exact same diameter as 1.5 PVC. And this filler neck on this gas tank happens to be the same diameter as 1.5 copper. It's just slightly smaller. So I found a no-hub, 1.5 plastic to 1.5 copper. And that fits perfectly on both sides for a filler neck. So this is heavy stuff. I took the seamers and got this bent into a 90 so I can bolt through that. That's got to be at least 18 gauge. I was having a hard time bending it. But at the present moment, I'm thinking I probably don't need any straps. I can probably just put some 1/4-inch bolts with nuts right up through that to the floor. Drill a hole through the floor for that filler neck to come up, and then just have it coming out of the 45 right in the bedside. Cut that off so it's lower, but that's all going to work real good. And then I just got to figure out something to weld up here to get a gas cap on it. I'll have to come up with something for that. But that's going to work real well. Only problem I got, by building this filler neck and stuff like that, I'm not going to be able to just stick a stick or something down in there to check my gas level. I'm never going to know how much gas is in this. And I need to think of a way to put a gas gauge of some kind on it. And I don't think I want to mount that under there until I figure that out. got a couple ideas bouncing around in my head. One of them's real easy, one of them's real elaborate. So we'll decide what I do there. But let's work on the wiring, I think, instead for a while. Other than the gas gauge, pretty well know what I'm going to do there. The tank's going to mount good. The filler neck's going to mount good. But yeah, I would like to have some kind of a gas gauge, even if it's just something real simple, you know. I'm back out here in the old garage. See that wire hanging up there? I think it used to go to an arc welder. It hasn't ever been hooked up since I've lived here. I don't have any welders in here. It runs over to this corner and down. It's just hanging right here. That looks like number 3 copper stranded. Model T battery cables, I'm thinking. I just can't believe all the Model T parts you find around here. Let me cut them off. Those should make pretty good battery cables. I went to skin the rubber back off of these. I want to solder ends on here, so I want it pretty clean. All this rubber is twisted in and stuck to the wire. I can't get it all out of there. So I peeled these all apart individually and got it scraped off. I don't know if I've ever dealt with wire where the rubber's been all stuck into it like that. Makes you wonder if it kind of got hot and melted in there at some point, you know? Anyway, we'll get it. I just cinched these back together and pried these apart, but see what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I know that's not typically the kind of wire you would use on battery cables, but I don't know why it wouldn't work. Should handle the amps just fine. Probably overkill, if anything. Old piece of 3/8 copper I got out of the scrap pile. See if we can do something with that. Need a battery. Now I need a drill bit. Flatten out a piece of copper with a hammer and then drill a hole in it. Get it all cleaned up and then cut a slit in it so you can hammer it onto I got these all cleaned up, ready to flux. Slide that on there, beat it on there, and solder it. This ain't my first time doing this. I've made a lot of battery cables around here doing this. It's not that hard to do. Guys, that's a thing of beauty. We just got to make one more now and get them on here. Thinking I'm just going to take that hole saw, make one hole, just run everything through one big hole. All right, guys, I got this one hooked into the side of the solenoid. I just grounded it right down here on my motor cradle. I should be able to catch a good ground there, I think. However, this is painted, but I would think it would have scratched and found a ground by now, all the sliding around I've done with it. If I find I don't have a good ground, I'll come back to this, but I really think that probably will work fine. It was the easiest place for me to get, and it put these cables pretty well parallel. So now I got to get two smaller wires run up into the cab, one for the coil and one for the start position on the solenoid. And then I'm gonna mount the battery right here in the corner underneath the seat. And I put a little bit of red paint on this one so I could identify it as the positive. So let's see if we can find some wire to get the two smaller ones in. They're gonna have to reach clear up to the dash. This extension cord laying out here, it's been chewed all to hell by the dogs. It's pretty good up to there. I could cut it there and put a new end on it and still have a 8-foot cord. I think I'll cut it there. I'll use some of this for Model T wire. Piece there, I think I'll put an end back on it, make me up a short cord. And I found another good chunk. Hard to find a good chunk. I'll stick that through there. Okay. Now, I bought a piece of conduit I wanted to run up over the floor so all this wire going up to the dash is kind of hidden. All right, you guys that watch all these videos all the time probably know better than me. Where did I put my conduit bender? Anyone know? Because I'm not seeing it. Ugly old conduit bender with a crooked handle, you know, anywhere. Let's look back here. Hey, what's that? I was about to give up. That's it right there. Hey, look at that now, would you? Got a mark on that. I just got a 5-foot piece. I think that'll cover what I want. Let's get a bend in that and try it out. All right, guys. That pretty well worked out just the way I wanted it to. I was able to go underneath the shifter with it. I put a white mark there at the center of the dash, so we're coming up out in the middle. And then it has another bend there that takes us back towards the corner where the battery will be. And that'll just get painted black and some conduit straps down to the floor. And we make a dash panel. I got kind of a neat idea for that. But let's see if we can get some wires thread through there for now. All right, that extension cord had 3 wires in it, a green ground and a black and a neutral there. I needed 4, so I taped an extra alongside of it, and I was able to push everything easily through the conduit, surprisingly. So I got 2 heading out to the back, coil and solenoid, and then in here I've got a hot and a ground. So I'm getting ready to hook up the coil and solenoid wires right now. I got these crimp-on connectors. You won't see me use these very often. I don't care for them. I don't trust them. If you do use them, put it on there and then pull on the son of a gun as hard as you can. If you can't pull it off, it's probably good. But I mean, I try to pull them off. I pull as hard as I can possibly pull, and that one's good. So we're gonna get this one on the solenoid, get this one over on the coil, and continue on. That coil wire is hard to reach up in there. Kind of thinking maybe I'll just do a butt splice in that wire that's already on there. I've mentioned this before in a previous video when I was doing wiring on a Liza, but years ago I bought a wiring kit from Painless Wiring to do the 59 Chevy with, and it specifically said in there, do not use crimp-on butt connectors anywhere. They just aren't trustworthy enough. I don't really like these plastic shielded crimp-on connectors anywhere, but the recommended method that they had to do the butt connections was this, and I feel that it's real good, and I've been doing it ever since. You take your wire and you split it in about equal parts on each one of your connections, and then you hold it up like this. Then you twist one side and the other. I don't have the stand set up right now, so I'll show you. You just start twisting like that. You fold one way this way after you get it twisted and the other one that way. I don't have a heat shrink on here, but say if I did, it slides over all that pretty good, and then you don't have a big knot there. And you gotta admit, that would be hard to ever get apart. One is twisted clockwise, the other counterclockwise, and then folded over beside the wire in each direction. But on this one, I'm just gonna tape it. But that's what you do. All right, I'd say all the connections are made back here. Just walked in the house for a little bit and turned the TV on and found out we're under a tornado watch. I had no idea. Don't see any though. Good for now. Keep an eye on that. Just came back down to the garage. Still don't see any tornadoes. Yeah, I don't like tornadoes, they scare me. Anyway, let's take a look at this ignition switch. This is an instrument panel that came attached to that Onan motor. It's got an amp gauge on there. I'd rather have a volt gauge. Anyway, it had an ignition switch in it, which is right here. And I think I have this working. Let me show you what I did. There's very few people that can properly work on a lock cylinder ignition switch. You've got tumblers in there of all different lengths, and they've got tiny, delicate little springs behind them. And the little springs hold all those tumblers down into a groove. And when you put your key in, the high and low spots on the key bring all those tumblers up into a straight line, pulling them out of the groove, enabling the lock cylinder to turn. It's a very delicate procedure working on one of these, and very few people know how to properly do it. Here's how I do it. Can't mess it up. So what you want to do is get you a pair of vice grips clamped around it so you can tightly hold it. And then where the key goes in the lock, you're missing the key. You want to take the biggest, strongest screwdriver that you have that fits in there well, and then you want to hit it in with the biggest hammer that you own. And you might hear some popping and cracking going on. That's okay. After you get the screwdriver drove in there tight, you want to take a very big crescent wrench. You need a strong screwdriver for this. You put the crescent wrench on the handle of the screwdriver, and then very gently, using all the force that you have, you turn it very gingerly. Right when your forearms start to burn, you're going to start hearing some cracking and popping, and it's going to move a little bit. You're going to hear a lot of grinding and stuff going on in there. You get it into the full position of start, and then you go back the other way. Then you do it again, and then next time it gets a little bit easier, and you just keep doing that. And what you're trying to do is pulverize and turn to powder anything in there that resembles a lock cylinder until this will turn freely. So we got that working just like new. What we want to do now is take a continuity tester and make sure we still actually have a switch. So we'll do that next. Oh, and congratulations. This won't work on like a car. They're made out of better stuff. But for you 400 or 500 people that watch these videos, I've successfully taught you how to steal a tractor or a lawnmower. So congratulations on that. Learned something new. Useful life skill, perhaps. Anyway, let's go get our continuity tester and see if this even works now. I just didn't want to go buy one if I could get this to work. And I'll just stick an old key out of something that I don't know what it goes to anymore in there, and if it keeps wanting to fall out, I'll JB weld it. Okay, there's the battery post. Right now it should be in off position. There's ignition, there's start. We don't have anything on either one, so that's good. Turn it like that. That should be the run position, so we should have it on ignition. We do not. Maybe I didn't turn it far enough. There's ignition, but we've also got power on start. Let's turn it back a little. Okay, there's ignition. That's working right. So this top one, if we push against a spring, that's working. Still got ignition. And there's off. There's run. It's working, but it seems a little sketchy. I guess we'll try it. If it doesn't work the way we want it to, we'll just have to find another one. Hopefully with a key. That'd be good. Here's a picture of a Model T dash. That's really not what I had in mind to do, though. And seeing as how this isn't a real Model T, I'm thinking about like a diamond shape. This is a Model A dash. I've got this diamond shape stuck in my head, and I don't know where I'm getting it from, but anyway, I'm not a very good artist, but I tried to draw it. This is what I've been visualizing in my head for like the last week. This is my shifter. There's them wheels off of that floor jack and the shifter coming up, the conduit coming across and going up. Right here's the 2x4 below the windshield, and the windshield's up here. I want to build a diamond shape faceplate and then put sides on it and box it in. So I've got this diamond shape with the volt gauge at the top and the ignition switch below it. And for some reason, this whole thing, the diamond shaped box with the conduit coming up, seems real familiar to me. And I don't know where I've seen it before, but I can't explain it. It's just got a familiar feeling to me. And I might be thinking of a damn parking meter. You know, it kind of looks like an old parking meter, maybe. I don't know, but anyway, I like it. So that's what I'm going to build. And we'll start that in the next video, I'm thinking. Still haven't seen any tornadoes, but that's good. Anyway, yeah, next video we'll start building that instrument panel. And I'm kind of thinking maybe the next video we try to start the engine again and try out the belts. Hopefully the wheel turns. That'd be good. I've ordered a volt gauge off the internet. It was a cheap one from Amazon. I'm sure it's being sent from India. which means it won't work, but it's cool looking. It's got a retro look to it, and it was only $9, so that's good. And you know, the other gauges that I had sent to me for Eliza, everything worked good but the speedometer. I can't seem to get a good speedometer from these end-ins. But their amp gauge worked, so maybe their volt gauge will. We'll try it. I got the amp gauge down there now, but I know I'm going to be discharging because I don't have a charging system. I'm more concerned about how much voltage is left in the battery, because if I'm driving around town and I look down there and see there's like 8 volts, I probably better not shut it off until I get home. But if I look down there and see 11 volts, then I probably can. And I think we're a few steps away from being able to drive this thing out the door. We got to do the front wheel bearings and alignment, get oil in everything, and get the gas tank in it, and just a little bit more wiring. And we should be pulling out of here with it. And really, we're only a charging system and lights away, and we would have a transcontinental vehicle. We could do long trips across the country, and you know. But anyway, that's for future Jeremy. Anyway, guys, this video is getting pretty long. I'm gonna post it, and we'll make another one for Saturday, I'm thinking. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.